Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Gallagher, and today we're going to discuss transformations. And the transformation we're going to discuss is translations. So let's first discuss what a transformation is. A transformation is a change in the size, location, or orientation of a figure. So a transformation is a change in the size, location, or orientation of a figure. And an orientation means the way it appears. So it's the way it appears. Now today we're going to discuss translations. So a translation is a type of transformation which slides each point of a figure the same distance and the same direction. So a translation is a transformation which slides each point of a figure the same distance and in the same direction. So if you look in the word translation, SL is in translation for slide because the translation is a slide. It's a way to remember that a translation is a slide. Okay, so the resulting figure after a transformation is called the image of the original figure. So it is the image of the original figure. Okay, so let's look at example 1 together. So in example 1 it states, triangle ABC is translated 1 unit right and 4 units up. Draw the image triangle A prime, B prime, and C prime. So here is our triangle, and we want to translate it 1 unit to the right and 4 units up. So what you're going to do is you're going to take each unit, each coordinate, so we'll start with A, and you're going to say, okay, we're going to move A 1 to the right, and then you're going to move it 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in that new spot, you're going to create a dot, and you're going to label that dot A prime. Now the prime helps us indicate what figure is the one that was translated. The original will not have the prime. So if you look here, we have A, B, and C. There is no prime. Okay, it looks like a little apostrophe. All right, so B, we'll start at B now. We're going to go 1 to the right and 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to place our coordinate there and label that B prime. And then C, we go 1 to the right and 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be C prime. And now we're going to connect it. And now we have our triangle. Okay? So let's just write down that the prime indicates the figure that was translated. So the prime indicated which figure is translated. Okay? So if you look here, we started out with A, and it was 1, -3. So our A prime is 2, +1. So A prime, our new coordinate, is 2, 1. Next is B. Our B was 3, 0. We translated it. So our B prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2, 3, 4. So our new coordinate is 4, 4 for B prime. And then C was 4, -2. Our C prime is 5 and up 2. So our C prime is 5, 2. So now when you look at this from example 1, triangle ABC, when it went to triangle A prime, B prime, C prime, what did you notice here in the translation? Well, let's look. We went from our X value. What did you notice here? We went from 1 to 2. We went from 3 to 4. And went to 4 to 5. So what do we notice about our X value? Our X value went up by 1. Now look at our Y. Went from -3 to 1, 0 to 4, and -2 to 2. So what do you notice about our Y value? It went up by 4. So as a general rule, this translation could be written as your XY coordinate, your X increased by 1, and your Y increased by 4. Now, what do you notice in our directions? If you go back up to our directions, we went to the right 1 and we went up 4. So now we look back to our rule down here. As a general rule, this translation can be written as we did x plus 1, y plus 4. We went to the right 1, so we added 1. And then we added 4 to the y value. So we added 4. We went up 4. And the last question says, are these figures similar or congruent, and why? Well, you look at our two shapes, are these similar or congruent? They are congruent because they are the same shape and same size. So these two figures are congruent because they have the same shape and the same size. Let's do another example together. Okay, so in example 2, it says triangle JKL has coordinates J, 0, 2, K, 3, 4, and L, 5, 1. So let's graph those coordinates. Okay, so we just graph those coordinates. We have J, K, L. That was part A. You wanted to draw JKL. Part B, you want to draw the image triangle J prime, K prime, and L prime after a translation of 4 units to the left and 5 units down. Then label the triangle. Okay, so we'll start with J. We want to go 4 units to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to make a point and label it J prime. Remember, the figure you move is going to be labeled with primes. Next is K. Move over to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is our K prime. And lastly is L. We're going to go 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to be L prime. Okay, so now we're going to create our triangle. And there is our translated figure. All right, so the next step, they want to know what are the coordinates. So our first is J prime, and our coordinate is -4, -3. Then we have K prime, which is -1, -1. And lastly, we have L prime, which is 1, -4. So now what's the rule? Let's look at our x value. What do we do to the x value? Well, we went from 0 to -4. We went from 3 to -1. And we went from 5 to 1. So what do we do to each x value? We subtracted 4 from the x value, x minus 4. And notice in directions, we went 4 units to the left. So because we went to the left 4, we subtracted 4. Now let's look at the y value. We went from 2 to -3, 4 to -1, and 5 to -4. What do we notice to do with the y value here? Well, we subtracted 5, y minus 5. And we also went down 5 units. So we subtracted by the number of units we went down. Because we went down 5 units, we subtracted 5 from the y. Okay, so now let's look at our last question. Are these figures similar or congruent, and why? Let's look at the picture. What do we notice here? That these are the same figure, therefore they are congruent. And why are they congruent? Because they are the same shape and the same size. So these figures are congruent because they are the same shape and the same size. So now let's look at a table that indicates our rules. when adding and subtracting to the x and y coordinate. So here's a little table with our translation location involving the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So we add to the x coordinate when we go to the right. So we add to our x coordinate when we go to the right. We subtract with our x coordinate when we go to the left. So we subtract from the x coordinate when our direction goes to the left. Now with our y coordinate, we add when our direction goes up. So when the y goes up, we add to the coordinate. We subtract from the y coordinate when the direction goes down. So we subtract from our y coordinate when it goes down. So now what I'd like you to do is number 1 in the U-Try section, complete letters A, B, C, D, E, F. I would also like you to do problems 2 and 3, where you are writing the rule that describes the translation shown on the graph. We will discuss this in class. Thank you.